Hi there, welcome to the channel, and interested to give you guys a walk around of my 2020 M2CS, the limited production last of the F80 M2s. I have had this car for a little over a year, and it is a great car. Everything that everybody has talked about on every other review, as you've seen. However, I'll point out some things you may find interesting as we go for a quick drive, but it has been a terrific car. Just highlight some of the features on the outside. On the M2CS, they put carbon everywhere, carbon mirror caps, CRFP hood, the carbon fiber roof with the interesting weave I'm sure you've heard about and seen people talking about. Gives you a little highlight of the details there. The car comes with the carbon fiber splitter, which is a deeper splitter than was available on the from M Performance for the competition as well. I opted for these carbon ceramic brakes, which with the gold calipers look terrific with the forged lightweight 763 wheels, and on the Misano blue is really a cool combination. So you can see the size of those rotors. I mean, the car is really amazing. You can tell, I think the front rotors are over 14 inches. It's incredible that wheels used to be that size, and now you have a brake rotor that's that size. Also with the car, yeah, the carbon fiber spoiler. What is an interesting feature, you'll note that the groove in the roof matches the notch in the spoiler. It's an interesting feature. And carbon fiber rear diffuser as well. So as we go into the car, we'll take a drive and I'll give you a quick summary of what I would describe as the legacy of the M2. I have been fortunate to own all of the M2 series, from the original gen to the competition to this CS. So you may find it interesting to hear about some of those differences. In the original generation, you had the N motor, which actually sounded better than anything. It was terrific, but the car did have some not say quirks, but it was a little rough around the edges in some ways. It had a pretty rough ride. It didn't have a lot of other features, and the power was good, but was not breathtaking. So I had a great time with that car. Actually, what is you'll find entertaining, I had a steel gray original car, and I had that car matte wrapped. So it was really unique. I had never done that before. I had this matte X-Spell put on the car, and it looked really cool. It was a really cool car. After I had that, I got the competition, and I was hoping that actually they would come out with some kind of lightweight CSL version of the car. They didn't. I got the M2 competition, and the competition was a big improvement in terms of power and overall comfort. I think the car was more comfortable. It was nicer. Overall, I really enjoyed that car. I got that car in the Hockenheim Silver as well, essentially the launch color for that car. I felt like every time you get one of these, you want to get it in the color particular to that car. So I got it in the Hockenheim Silver, and I really enjoyed it as well. What was entertaining is that I managed to get, my dealer called and said he would have an open allocation for a CS. And at that point, I wasn't really in the market, but I was so surprised that he would have an allocation that I said, okay, great, I'll take the allocation. And that was it. Spec'd the car, got it, and you know, what are the features of this car that the other car didn't have? I mean, what is really cool about this car is the added power, and it is pretty surprising that just this extra 50 horsepower makes a big difference, but the car just really pulls. It will light up the rear tires at will in first or second gear, and it's like, well, why would you really want more? In thinking about some of the differences, it's just that this car with the adjustable suspension, that is really the biggest change. But I mean, you see around the car, the interior is so much better done. The Alcantara and carbon fiber really make the car. With the other cars, you can buy carbon fiber pieces, but this one comes factory with everything. It's just a terrific stock kit, with the exception of the steering wheel trim, which is still plastic, yet they had a carbon fiber everything, yet the wheel trim was still plastic. So why would I suggest buying one or owning one of these? Really, the point with this is that it checks all the boxes. And with Honda CR-Vs in front of you regularly, it's hard to really exercise any car significantly. What was interesting is I did have the original gen in a manual. I think with this, they improved the clutch weight and the shifter a bit, so it is a bit tighter with this motor, and that makes that driving experience better. Of course, you have that rev match shifting, which works, you know, it works well, really well, unless you're able to shift quickly enough so that you beat the rev match, which you can do actually. But overall, it's terrific. And I went to the DCT on the competition because I wanted to check that out, and the DCT is nice. And in heavy traffic, it is a huge plus, of course, versus having a manual. But I think if you get used to driving a manual car in heavy traffic, you realize that you can drive second gear down to fairly low RPM without pushing in the clutch. So it's using the clutch less in heavy traffic. What else can I tell you about the car? I enjoyed the exclusivity of the car, to be honest, because to be lucky enough to have one of a very limited production run of a car is exciting. I don't know that it will ever generate a ton of money, because for what it is at $100,000, this is a fair amount of car. But when you get into the $100,000 plus price range, there are so many options. You have to ask yourself, well, would this really be the best option versus something else I could get used at this price point? But when I look at other choices, like, are you going to spend $180,000 for a 2017 Turbo S, which would be great? I've looked at the Acura NSX. The Acura NSX 2017 was at $130,000. Now they're $160,000. Everything has become so inflated as of the time you do this video, that it is just hard to imagine something that's better at the relative price point. Off ramps. 20-mile-an-hour off ramp. And I have to say, as I just hit the brakes, I've driven a few cars with ceramic brakes. This car, they did a really great job with the ceramic brakes. The ceramic brakes don't grab. Mine, I don't want to jinx them, they haven't squealed. They are really terrific. And for BMW owners that I have to say, I've owned an E36 M3, an E46 M3, an E92 M3, the original Gen M2, the M2 competition, and this car. BMW brake dust from stock pads is the worst. Everybody talks about it, talks about swapping out pads. These ceramic brakes, no brake dust whatsoever. Have the window down, maybe you can hear the exhaust note a bit from inside the car. At least it doesn't have a neutral rev limiter, soft limiter. That's at least a plus. But anyway, in gear. Stand on the pedal and the car is just so quick. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this POV video of my M2CS. Like and subscribe to Evan's channel for more, and I hope maybe Evan and I do some more collabs down the road. So if you enjoyed the video,